You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of Friendship University, a podcast where we explore how to create, maintain, and develop the lost art of friendship, because friends are worth fighting for. I'm Kristen, and I am joined by the phenomenal co-host that is Miki. Miki, how you doing this week?
I'm doing a lot better than I was these past few days, which, okay, before I get into that, I'm very big into transparency. We had a little bit of technical difficulties a few minutes ago, and you called me phenomenal that time, and you called me phenomenal again, and it also put a smile on my face this time. So
I want you to know you are.
You're phenomenal. I love you. But I'm doing a lot better now than I was these past few days. I've had bronchitis, so haven't been feeling the best. Since Friday, really, I have just been abnormally fatigued and just exhausted. But feeling a lot better now, thankfully, now that I actually can sleep throughout the evening, which is great. But yeah, how about yourself? How was your past week, man?
It's been okay. I had a house guest over the weekend. We celebrated a birthday that was amazing.
Yeah. I think I saw the pictures. It looked like you had a good time.
I had a great time. This is one of my friends who we have tried to instill celebrating themselves in.
We love that. We love to hear it.
This is probably, I've known this person over a decade, and it's probably the biggest celebration they've ever had for their birthday.
Well, good for them. Happy birthday, friend.
Happy
shout out to them. Hope they had a good time.
They did have a good time. So it was good. I'm happy that I could have been a part of it, and just out here doing my best. What's that meme? I'm doing my best, Sam, or whatever they say. I'm doing my best, Bob.
That's all you really can do nowadays. So my therapist tells me I should stop, scrolling on the internet aimlessly, specifically TikTok, because I have a habit of spending a lot of time on TikTok, mainly looking at, real life information and news and stuff like that, which, I think it's important to be in the know as far as things going on around you, but at the same time, too much information and access is not the healthiest sometimes. So I actually deleted TikTok recently. But yeah, just everything going on in the world, all you can do is your best, honestly. Shit's on fire. The president might go to jail. He's not going to jail. Just a lot. Not the current president. The former Cheeto, yes. Just a lot of stuff going on, so you keep doing your best. That's all I can ask of you.
That's all I'm going to do. I have managed to stay off of TikTok this long. I want to make a TikTok for us in our podcast. I feel like
it'd be fun.
It'd be fun, yeah, right? But I don't know. Listen, I haven't. If anybody has some social media strategies, I am just struggling trying to manage every single social media account we have. So, if anyone would like to be an intern,
Unpaid.
Applications.
Unpaid.
Applications are open experience. And then what is it? They used to tell us that back in the day, right?
Get paid in experience. Experience doesn't pay bills. I cannot pay bills on experience.
If you
I can increase my pay with experience,
if you don't have
sure.
any bills to pay and you would like to get experience, then please reach out to us. Our handles will be in the description box below. We always go over them. But yeah, I'm good. This August and September are always very busy months for me because a lot of my friends' birthdays fall in this realm. Mm-hmm. So I have another friend whose birthday was today. Shout out to you. Happy birthday. You know who you are. I hope you're having an amazing day. And then my birthday comes up, and I have another friend who has the same birthday as Beyonce.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a busy season for me. I'm always out to celebrate people. So, yeah. I'm excited for what is to come. I can't believe tomorrow is September 1st.
That doesn't make sense. Like, when I was younger, my family and friends, or not friends because they were the same age as me, but my family and, like, adults would always say, like, enjoy being young because, like, once them years start flying, them years start flying. And they weren't lying. These years go so quickly.
Laps. Michael Phelps laps
couldn't keep up. Us. I feel like it's because, like, when you're when you're younger and you're in school, like, you have breaks throughout the year where, like, summer break, Christmas break, all that stuff. That's like that. True. Where you're an adult, unless you're a very privileged adult or just don't live in America, really, you pretty much are working all the time. So, like, it's pretty much, like, you know, when you used to go to school back in the day, it would go super quick during the school year, and then summer would come and summer would last, like, forever in your brain. It's pretty much like that. I feel like it's like non-stop school. Just replace school with work, and that's why time just goes so quickly. I was 20 years old yesterday. I'm going on 27, 28.
But why they give us so many breaks and they don't do that in real life?
Snatch them away. Adult abuse. That is adult abuse. They prepared us for months of vacations throughout the year.
Call CPS.
See, we just had weeks off randomly. I had a week off in September. What did they call it? Fall break. Then I had another fall break for Thanksgiving. Then I had 3 weeks off for Christmas. Then I had another week off in March. 2 weeks off in April. And then, like, multiple months for summer. And now I have to request time off? And it may get denied? Which side note? You can deny my PTO. You can deny it as much as you want to. I'm letting you know I'm not going to be there. The only thing you're hurting is yourself. Prepare the others. Okay? That me putting a PTO request in is not me asking to leave. It's not me requesting time off. It is me letting you know I am not going to be here, so you need to do what you need to do to make sure your business is covered.
Everybody is in place and intact. PTO, prepare the others.
Okay. And if there's no others, I don't know what to tell you. Sounds like you gotta hire some more others.
I've been blessed so far to have, right now I've been working a job that does unlimited PTO. I'm transitioning out of this job, so I don't know what's to come. I'm hoping. But I remember when I used to have to, like, clock those hours and be like, how am I out of PTO? Who's been taking time off for me? It's not me.
We had to, no, it's not a surprise. Like, you know, people know we met from a previous job. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when we used to have to use our sick time as PTO? Ooh. You call out, you were negative PTO. What kind of world is it where my sick time and my time off for leisure are one and the same? And remember, we had to accrue it?
Yeah, paycheck.
Every check. Oh, here's your 0.5 hours. Ooh, here's your half a day off.
You worked enough to get a nice little half day off.
Don't get sick. Okay. Don't get sick for a full day because you're going to waste it. And then you're going to be negative 5.5 hours.
You want to know what I actually remember from that? I remember when you were done with that job because of that PTO, because of he who shall not be named
Cletus Montgomery Washington Wellman III.
Tried to tell you were not going to be able to go to your EDM festival.
Look, here's the thing.
That was a no-go.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest, and maybe I'll spill some like work trauma here. We can make it a segment. I've been traumatized at work because I have a lot of stories. So many stories. This in particular story, just keep it simple so we can get into our discussion.
Okay.
I had some PTO requested to go to Imagine Music Festival. Hindsight, a trash festival, but moving past that point.
That year.
That year was really good, actually. I did enjoy that year, but every year after that, it just went downhill. So I'm so sorry. My cat's doing the most.
Our mascot showing his face.
Why are you like this? I'm so sorry, everyone.
He's shaking the haters off.
So anyway, I had for PTO for this festival I wanted to go to, and the PTO was already accepted, blah, blah, blah. But then the company decided to do this new initiative or whatever the hell. And they were like, so for this time, we're blocking out all PTO. If you have already scheduled PTO, you're going to have to cancel it. And I was like, I would actually try to like fake laugh and cough, but I would actually viciously start coughing because, bronchitis. So insert some laughing. There, it came out. I'm so sorry. Anyway, it just put a sour taste in my mouth. Like, don't mess with my PTO. I work hard. Like,
don't mess with your music. Honestly,
or my music. Truly, don't mess with my music. Because if it was something random, like I just wanted a couple days off, then maybe I would have been a little bit nicer. But don't make me miss my techno.
They were on your hit list after that.
It was a rap.
Ooh,
it was Rizap.
Never seen somebody so scorned. But I'm here for it because you moved on to bigger and better for sure. So if you're new here, if you're welcoming back, you can expect episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. And we like to open up our discussions with an icebreaker. We're on questions still because you niggas ain't giving no suggestions. So we're going to stick with the questions until we get another suggestion. This week, Mickey, I'm going to ask you, can you name a time where you encountered or realized one of your friends may be jealous of you? Or maybe perhaps a time where you were jealous of a friend?
Yeah. As far as the first question, if anyone's ever been jealous of me, I'm too oblivious to notice. If you've ever been jealous of me, I'm genuinely sorry. Unless you explicitly told me, I did not notice. Like, when you asked me the question earlier, I couldn't think of any situation where someone was jealous of me. I also don't think anyone has a reason to be jealous of me. Like, my life was pretty garbage, so, yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Before you answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Think about a time where you had something maybe important or like big for you, and someone you thought would show up wasn't fully present.
So there's another problem with that. I am really, really, really bad about telling people about my life, which is probably the reason I don't know many people who are jealous of me, because I get a new job or I'm in a relationship or I move or something like that.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I just don't bring it up. Not because I'm not appreciative of it or because I'm not excited. I just don't think about it. Like, I was talking to I'm in a group chat with some friends, and they were like, "Oh, like, how have things been?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like, I'm good. Like, I'm in a relationship. I'm doing this study course. I'm on a podcast." And they're like, wait. What? What is all this stuff coming from? What is all this information? I'm really bad about talking about myself. Even though I'm very transparent on this podcast and stuff like that, like, when it comes to day-to-day stuff, I just don't think about telling most people. Like, I tell you and, like, other people, I guess, but, like,
I mean, sometimes
it takes a while. Sometimes it's, months later, I'm like, oh yeah, did I mention I did this thing? Like, what?
Sometimes I too. Maybe we need to put that on the docket for Mickey.
Okay. So yeah, to answer the question about being jealous of someone else, though, I can think of situations where I have been jealous of a friend. one situation, or I guess a group of situations, because it applied to more than one person, would actually be kind of surrounding the topic of relocating.
Okay.
After or towards the end of college, or college time, because I did not graduate college, so like right around the time where my graduating class would have started graduating college, a lot of my friends and people in my graduating class started to move out of the state, move out of the country, like get out of Georgia and all that great stuff like that. And I was honestly really jealous of those friends, mainly because a few different reasons, really. The first reason was because I feel like I was falling behind. Like, I'm, to be transparent, I do not like living in Atlanta. It's not my favorite place to be. It's grown on me a lot. Like, I used to despise this place
Ooh.
with a
Yes, you
burning
did.
passion of 1,000 suns. But now I dislike this place with a burning passion of about 20 suns. So we decreased.
That's a pretty good average.
It's just so fucking hot here. It's so hot and humid, and people be driving Dodge Challenges like they're Maseratis. Anyway, moving past that. So I was feeling like I was falling behind in life, and I was also like jealous for the fact that they were leaving a place that at the time I really hated being at, and then this is not for like lack of trying to leave. Like I tried to leave like numerous times. Like I would try to apply to jobs outside of state. I would try to, you know, look at different opportunities out there, like colleges that I might have been out of state, or like different kind of programs that might have helped me leave the state. Like I was willing to join the United States Armed Forces.
You about to join the military?
I had my papers signed and everything to join the National Guard. I was ready to go.
You never turned them in, I'm assuming.
Nope. I got into a car wreck. Yeah, I got hit by a Civic, and I broke my shoulder like 2 or 3 months before I was supposed to leave. Like I was working out, I was conditioning, like I was getting ready to leave. I did really good on my, I think it's called ASVAB test, where you determine what you could do. Not the physical, it's like the written part where you determine what you could do in the military. I did really well in there. Like you can pretty much have any job you want in the military. So it's like, sure, I'm gonna hate it because fuck this country, but at the same time, like I can get out of Georgia. At the bare minimum, I can leave Georgia
I knew
for a
about
little
your
bit.
accident, but I didn't know that held you back from being in the military.
Blessing in disguise though, because I literally said my life is garbage. I was kidding. I have an amazing cat. I'm in a good relationship. I've met you guys. Like if I had joined the military, I never would have met you guys. So like everything happens for a reason, in my opinion. So like I'm not like resentful of that situation. I don't blame myself for it. Like life turned out better than I thought it would. Even in the military, I was like, I'm just doing this to get out of where I am. So yeah, I've definitely experienced some jealousy with some friends. So much so that I was willing to pretty much sign my life away to country that would easily shoot me in the back of the head if I've ever given the opportunity. And there have been other situations I've been jealous. Like I've been jealous of people's relationship statuses. I've been jealous of people's money. I have grown out of that, and we can talk more about that a little bit later. But I wanted to bounce the question back to you. Have you ever experienced jealousy either on the receiving end or the giving end with a friendship?
I could probably say both. So, I'm a stickler for terminology and words and, verbiage. So, I looked up what jealous actually meant and just wanted to make sure that my understanding of where I'm going with the conversation made sense. So, jealous can be a few things. It can be a feeling or a showing of envy of someone or their achievements and advantages. So we just talked about that. Feeling or showing suspicion of someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship. So that can also be jealousy. And then fiercely protective or vigilant of one's rights or possessions. So that can also be jealousy. I would say that, yeah, I've had moments where I felt like, Lord, why not me? Or like, why am I not here? I've done X, Y, Z. Why do I not feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be? And on the back end, I've had situations where people have been honest and not honest about the way that they felt in the jealousy that they felt towards me. Maybe not showing up in the way that I thought they would show up in important moments, and then later on figuring out, oh, okay, I couldn't be there for you because I was jealous. I was dealing with my own insecurities, or I was dealing with my own like battles to try to figure out who I was and different things like that. And so I wanted to, and this was a conversation that you brought up, but I was thinking about it and I was like, this is actually a really good topic because we always hear like, you got haters in the camp, and we always hear like, look out for your Judases, and like, look out for the people who are uh, taking up for you or talking about you behind your back and different things like that. And so I wanted to have a conversation about whether you felt like, quote unquote, real friends can actually be jealous of one another. When you think about the situations where you may have been jealous of someone else, do you still consider this person a real friend, or like what?
Yeah, absolutely.
What did those situations boil down to?
So I will speak on my thoughts specific to friendship, but just to keep it in a super short layton's term, the way I look at it, you could be, super tight with your own sibling. And you could be jealous of that sibling. Does not mean you love them any less. So I do think you can be a true friend and still experience bouts of jealousy. And like, that doesn't mean you don't care about this person. It doesn't mean you want it doesn't mean you want bad things to happen to this person. It doesn't mean you want to snatch that blessing from that person. But you can look at something that someone has or someone has achieved and think, damn, I wish I had that. Or damn, I wish I could have done that. It doesn't make you a bad person. I do believe unchecked jealousy can lead to poor decisions in relation to how you interact with that person or things that you're willing to do, i.e. joining the fucking military. So I'm happy. Listen,
my dad was in the military, so we salute the troops. But I'm glad you didn't join. I don't know what would have happened if you
I wouldn't have made it. I probably would have cussed out my fucking officer or whatever, my boot camp. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this shit. Fuck you. I'm not doing 20 more burpee push-ups, whatever. I'm out. I also, to be transparent, I wouldn't have made the mental screening. They put him like, you're crazy. Please, we cannot trust you with a gun. No, I don't own a gun, so everyone chill out. Anyway, as far as like jealousy and friendships, again, I do believe you can be a true friend to someone and still experience jealousy for that person. But as I was saying, it really is up to you to check that jealousy and also determine where it's coming from. I do believe, of course, like, you see something that someone else has and it's like you compare it to your, appeared lack thereof of having that thing or experience or whatever. Like, you're jealous of your friends because they get to travel the world, or you're jealous because your friend makes $40,000 more than you and stuff like that. And that's, like I said, completely fair. And I think that is a normal human response to have to certain things. What helped me with my jealousy was not only practicing gratitude for the things that I already have, because I think it's easy to look around you and be like, what do I not have? I don't have the car. I don't have the new car. I don't have the girlfriend or partner or boyfriend. I don't have the nice job. I don't have the, penthouse suite or whatever. Like, it's easy to look around you and think about what I don't have. And spending more time to be appreciative of the things you do have, even if it's small. Like, yeah, I don't have the new car, but I have good health. Or no, I may not have the best job in the world, but I am employed. And I understand like that is not always easy. And I also understand that it may not be ideal. And sometimes like I do also kind of hate the whole, you need to have gratitude advice, because when you're in the thick of it, when you're like, what do I don't have, it can be very hard for you to be like appreciative of the things you do have. Like, I've been the person who was like, oh yeah, like I'm upset or I'm jealous because I don't make as much money as my friend. But at the same time, like, I could be thankful for my income. But in that time when I'm upset about not making a certain amount of money, it's probably a little harder for me to be grateful for it. So I would say practicing gratitude in the times where you aren't jealous. Like when you are jealous, it's very hard to just pull yourself out of, I'm just going to be happy for what I have. But in the times where you are more chill and more level headed and more connected with yourself, I think those are really good opportunities for you to think about like what I'm grateful for.
So
Like
creating a habit.
like a little bit of a habit.
Yeah.
Like I often catch myself nowadays like being thankful for my space. Like I'm in my house, it's quiet, I'm chilling with the cat, playing video games. And I'll honestly sit here sometimes and just go, you know, this is really nice. Like I'm very happy I have a place where I feel safe, a place where I have warmth and comfort and I can do what I want and hang out with my cat and go on the balcony and catch some fresh air or walk around naked or whatever the case may be. So practicing gratitude in times where it's more calm, I think is easier, and it may become easier for you to practice it when you're more elevated in moments of like jealousy, for example. Or even in moments where you're feeling defeated. Like there are certain days where I just feel like life is awful and I need to give up. And in those times, it's also very hard to be grateful for the things I have because, you know, to somebody else, it'd be like, you're complaining about these things. Like I would die for those things. Another thing that helped me personally with my jealousy is understanding, and you can really put this in a few different ways. You can look at it from a way of like, you know, your religion and God. You can look at it from a way of like law of attraction or just good faith, or you're just confident in yourself. There's a lot of ways you can go about this. But understanding like what's for you will come to you and it'll find its way to you no matter what.
Yeah.
It's easy to be jealous of that relationship your friend has or that job or whatever, but understand like that was for them, what's for you will be for you, and it'll make you feel 10 times better than anything they probably had. Not to say your relationship is better than theirs or your job is better than theirs, but because it's meant for you, it'll be 10 times better, because implying you could just replace your friend and input yourself there, who's to say that relationship will make you happy?
Right.
You might hate their girlfriend or boyfriend.
You may not be ready for that.
You may not be ready for a relationship. You may not be ready for that new job. So like, I know it's hard to be patient and like wait for good things to come. I get it firsthand. I hate waiting for things to come. Like I'm still waiting for my 24 figures.
Woo!
Hasn't happened yet. I'm agonizing about it every day, but you know, I understand that when it's time, the universe or whatever, or my own skills or God will provide when it's time.
Yeah.
And that's helped me with jealousy tremendously in my relationships, honestly.
Do you think your friends have ever noticed that jealousy? Coming up?
No, at least, I mean, if they have, they never brought it up to me, but
Yeah.
even when I am internally jealous, I'm really good about still showing support and showing like that I am there for that person. Like I have a lot of friends who have really good physiques, and yeah, so sure, I get a little jealous sometimes because I'm not there yet. Working on it, going to the gym, eating better, but you know, it takes time.
Body.
I appreciate you. So, you know, but it doesn't make me, you know, look at them any less. It doesn't make me, you know, not hang around them. It doesn't make me like not support them. Like, you know, if I ever see them, like, yeah, bro, like, damn, you know, your biceps look good, or wow, I can tell you've been hitting the gym or whatever, or even someone's relationship, like, you know, I'll go hang out with them. Like, I don't avoid them. I don't make like sly remarks to them or make them feel shitty for their relationship.
It
like,
almost sounds like the practices you've implemented have allowed you to be able to like quickly turn around those feelings of jealousy whenever they come. Like you've been able to like implement these affirmations and implement these transitions of thoughts when you have those jealous moments to say to be thankful and moments of gratitude, I think is what you said, and that helps instantly. Do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would also say one other thing that kind of helps me with my jealousy, and it's kind of like twofold. One, and this is gonna sound kind of awful, the grass is not always greener on the other side.
No, it is not.
It is not.
It is absolutely not.
I understand everyone on this planet is just kind of figuring it out, and just because one area of life is really good does not mean another area of life is not completely trash. And the reason I say this is twofold is because I was able to get really close with a couple, and getting the inside look of their relationship, which on the outside I perceive to be so incredible and so amazing, and oh my god, I want this for myself. Once I got really close to that couple, I realized, oh, I do not want this at all. This is not what I want for myself. So, just because it may look nice and pretty on the outside does not mean it's great on the other side.
Well, they say everything that glitters isn't gold.
Exactly. Even going back to the whole relocating situation, sure, I have some friends who relocated. They were also living paycheck to paycheck and living with 5 people. So, and this is not me saying this, I'm not trying to make them feel bad or call them out like that. They're doing fantastic for themselves. But just because someone is doing something and you really want it, unless you have the full story of how it happened or what they're doing or what they're going through with that in particular thing, it's probably for your best to just try to mitigate those feelings of jealousy or use that knowledge that I just gave you to help you mitigate your jealousy. Because, again, it may look really good on Instagram, doesn't mean it's really that good in real life.
Yeah, that we can have a conversation about overnight sensation and what that looks like for people, because everybody feels like everything happens overnight, and nothing is overnight. Absolutely
Ever.
not.
It's never. That's a really good point, but we can definitely talk about that later.
Yeah.
But I wanted to kind of, ask you as far as on the flip side of maybe having a friend who's jealous of you, how have you handled situations with that? Did you distance yourself from that person? Did you have an honest conversation? Did you shrug it off?
No, I think so. In the instances where someone was, I would say,
and here he is.
I would say honest about it, and there haven't been many. Let me just be clear. We need to be honest in the fact that we're human, and certain emotions we don't want to exhibit, even with the closest of people. And so jealousy is one of those emotions that a lot of times people will never tell you they're experiencing. And so I thank the few people who were honest with me and told me, not to say that you always have to be honest, but it was situations where these people told me because they were supposed to show up for me in a certain way and they couldn't. And they had to be honest in the fact of why they couldn't show up for me in those ways.
Do you have a specific example you can give
us?
us?
Yeah, so I got it wasn't a full-time job, but I got a steady gig with a major magazine as a writer at one point. And so I wasn't considered a freelancer anymore. I had a steady column. I can't say full-time because in writing there are just different things. Full-time is subjective in certain situations. And so yes, I was full-time. I had a steady column. I had different things. And a particular person that I was really close with, who was also a writer, was not able to celebrate that with me. And I had been working towards this for a very long time at that point. And, I kind of felt the distance that happened between us. And we ended up having a conversation. And this person told me, I kind of felt some kind of way because we both been in the grind. And I just felt like you're moving forward and I'm not. And so that kind of made me understand that, even as you said, jealousy is a fleeting feeling. I think so, in the sense that you can experience these fleeting feelings per se of jealousy because of your own insecurities or placements in life. And there's a difference for me in jealousy and envy. So even in certain situations, like you said, I've seen people's relationships and I've been jealous. When will that be me? I feel like I've been working on those different types of things. And vice versa, people have seen things on the outside and they think this is what it's supposed to be. But when it turns into envy, then we're talking about a form of resentment. We're talking about actions you're taking to like maybe sabotage me, or make sure that I don't move forward in whatever the initial feeling of jealousy was. And so the reason I wanted to have a conversation about quote unquote real friends being jealous is because, like you put, in reality, jealousy is a very natural feeling of the human experience. It's just like sadness, it's just like happiness, it's just like joy, pain, heartache. Like, especially now in today where we see everything on social media. You see every single person you've ever known, grade school, middle school, high school, college. You see all of these people living a particular life on social media that can make you feel a particular kind of way. And I'm so happy that you brought up the discussion of jealousy and friendship, because I think it's very important to understand that sometimes, yes, your friends can exhibit emotions of jealousy, but when they start acting on that, that has now turned into envy. And envy is what's dangerous.
Exactly.
In any relationship. So, understanding that if you have a person who couldn't show up for you in a particular situation, and you're like, man, yeah, I've always been there for that person. Maybe they ghosted you or fell off the face of the earth or whatever they did. They may not have necessarily done anything malicious to you. They just aren't there. It may be worth visiting the root of what's happening with this friend that you have put in this time and effort and communication with over these X amount of time, versus someone who you have seen maliciously try to sabotage you.
Which I'll say, like, in a situation, and I'm happy you really opened up this door as far as, like, envy versus jealousy, which definition-wise, I'm not sure what the difference is, but regardless. In a situation where you maybe...
Oh, you know I got you.
I know you do. In a situation where maybe a friend doesn't show up, that could, and I'm not saying this is 100% of the time. I'm actually going to say it's not even 50% of the time. But depending on the person, someone who is pretty emotionally aware might understand me not showing up is better than me showing up and me having a stank face, or me not being 100%, because they may very well be super happy for you, but because they are experiencing a hinge of jealousy, they might think, it's better for me to remove myself from the situation or not be there, opposed to me show up and act like I'm all happy, excited for you, and it comes across as I'm being fake. Because that could also damage the relationship. Like, no one wants the fake friend who's like, oh my god, girl, I'm so happy you got that job, and like you can tell that they're genuinely not happy about it. Sometimes, like we've both been saying, jealousy, like many other feelings humans experience, it's fleeting. Most feelings only last a couple minutes, not even a couple minutes, but like a few minutes at a time. Like, it may come and go, it may come strong and then leave, but
it comes with control,
right?
Though,
which is fair. I personally don't try to control my emotions too much. My emotions are going to do what they want to do. The more I can try to control them, the more they control me. So I just let them run their course. So that jealous feeling comes and goes, and maybe you understand. Let me just work through this myself. I can hit that person up later and let them know, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't show up, and just have an honest conversation about it. But as I did say, that takes a very emotionally aware and very emotionally mature person to understand that and express that. I also think it takes a very emotionally aware and understanding person to accept that. Some people might be like, oh, screw you, like, you didn't show up for me, like, don't ever hit me up again. Some people be like, I completely understand, like, I've experienced that before, like, I don't hold it against you. And And speaking of like the whole being jealous versus like, being the person who is receiving the jealousy, and actually also using the whole Instagram social media thing, they also might be jealous of you.
Yeah.
That friend who you're jealous of, that couple, they might be jealous because you're single and you get to go out here and twerk that ass.
Raggedy mingle.
Okay, yeah, that project manager you may be jealous of that project manager because they make X amount of money. They may be jealous of you because you get to log out on time and spend time with your family.
Okay, take naps in the middle
of the day. Log out on time, go to the gym. Meanwhile, they're trying to close 6 projects and it's going on 12 o'clock.
That grass.
It's not always okay. It's not always greener. So, I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, people are jealous of you, because I know some people will take that and be like, oh yeah, let me stroke my ego or whatever. But you never know. I know people who are on the other side of like, yeah, I have these things, but like I would die to be, living by myself with my cat doing nothing or chilling, or I would, crave being a DJ or whatever the case may be. So, I think it should be more normalized that feelings of jealousy are normal.
Absolutely.
And again, as you were saying, once you start acting on the jealousy, that's where it gets dicey. That's where it gets really like, okay, hold on. Like, now you're doing something with these feelings. But that's the same thing with any feeling. Like, if you do something with sadness, like try to hurt yourself, like that's obviously not particularly like a good idea. If you do something out of anger, like hit somebody or say something that you don't mean, probably going to regret that. So I would say emotions across the board, unless you're happy. And also, even happiness can be a little bit of a tricky one.
Anything can be overdosed.
Right. Anything can be overdone, for sure. And certain things that make you happy aren't necessarily healthy. So I would say when it comes to acting on emotions, be very careful, very wary of like when you're doing so. Because I would say majority of the time, you're probably going to regret it.
Just being aware. I know you said you'd like to have your emotions run their course, but I think you've kind of, in your journey with therapy and everything, maybe have been taught to like monitor them.
Oh, I'm very aware.
In the sense of like, you're still aware of what's happening and like where your emotions are taking you. And if you feel like one emotion that maybe shouldn't be surpassing the other, you're pretty aware to like capstone that emotion. And I think that's where I was going with like the jealousy and being aware. Like you said, emotions are a very real human nature thing. And jealousy, again, I remember just hearing so much. And even today we hear it in like media and like pop culture and just like, your ops, like just the people who Loki is tearing something up in the bedroom.
It's fine. I'll worry about it later.
But yeah, you hear about like, oh, these people were against me, and yes, there are certain situations where, like I said, jealousy turns into envy, and then that's where the actions start to proclaim themselves. But if someone is really genuinely emitting a humanistic character like of jealousy, you have to really evaluate like if it's worth judging them in that moment. Because honestly, jealousy is a vulnerable moment. It's very vulnerable. Like, I'm really telling you, I'm not happy where I am. I'm not happy with who I am. I'm not happy with what's happening in that area that I'm jealous of you in. And so, yeah, I've had to check myself because I've been in a lot of weddings. I have been in a ton of weddings since I was a teenager. And I'm like, wow. And there was a moment where I felt like maybe I wouldn't get married, but now I know I'm supposed to get married, or I feel like I'm supposed to get married and like do this thing called life with somebody else or whatever. But I've had these moments where I'm like, man, like I'm in another wedding. Like I'm sacrificing another like time and effort. Like, when is it gonna... And I've had to like check myself in those moments because it's not about me. It's about me in the sense of I need to be aware that this is a feeling inside of me. I need to handle it. But it's also not about me because the person that I love, the person that I care about, the person that wants me to be there for them needs me. And I need to wake up out of this daze of jealousy. And so that's why I wanted to really hone in the difference between jealousy and envy, because a lot of times jealousy doesn't emit a consequence. Like, they don't do repercussion against you when you're jealous of someone. It's when you become envious,
right,
that you start to feel like I need to do something to change this.
Exactly. And actually, I'm happy that's a good segue into something I was thinking as you were talking, which kind of sparked in my brain. While jealousy is quote unquote a negative emotion, you can turn that feeling into actionable, proactive things. It's a good chance to reflect on yourself. So, using the relationship example, you see your friend in a relationship, you think, damn, I really want that, or they're at the wedding, you're like, wow, I really want to get married. That's a good opportunity for you to sit down and think, why do I want that? Am I experiencing feelings of loneliness? Do I genuinely want companionship and share a life with someone? Am I just...
That's self-reflection.
Okay, self-reflect. Okay, exactly. Do I want romantic affection? Is it because I haven't felt the touch of a man in 7 years? Or it can be a lot of different things.
That's because that reminded me of a movie. I'm sorry.
It's been 84 years. Again, using a different example, like the financial thing, or someone has a good job, really determining, okay, yes, I'm jealous that you make this certain amount of money, or that you get to travel with your job, or whatever. You can use that as actionable items for yourself. Like, okay, what can I do to make that kind of income? Can I go back to school? Can I pick up a certification? Yeah. Can I update my resume? Maybe reach out to some connections you used to have.
Do I really want to do that much?
Do I really want to work that much? Right. Or as far as traveling for work, okay, look at jobs that might help you travel. A lot of tech companies are helping you travel. Maybe you can look into some abroad options, like teaching English in a different country.
Shout out teaching English.
You really can use your jealousy to be proactive, while you also can use it to be pretty destructive. Going into that envious side, it's two-way street. You can use those feelings to go one way or the other, and that's pretty much with any feeling. If you're happy, you can really sit there and think, what is making me happy? Is it my health? Is it because I'm on this new skincare regimen? Is it something that's going to edify me? Or is it destroying me whenever I feel like it's making me happy? So that applies to all emotions. I think those are fantastic times to reflect. We are always big advocates of going to therapy. So if self-reflection and mindfulness and kind of taking a look at yourself is not something that comes natural to you, which there's nothing wrong with that. It does not come natural to everyone. Okay, it really doesn't. The only reason I'm good at it is because I'm traumatized. I was traumatized as a child, so I have no reason but to be emotionally aware. So go speak to a professional. Bounce ideas off your friends. Mind you, your friends are probably not mental health professionals, so take that with a large grain of salt. Very large grain of salt. But go to, maybe you have a counselor at your school. Maybe you have a mentor. Maybe you have a little mentor who helps you with business. You can talk to them about the different feelings.
Don't certain jobs have EPP? What are they called? Employee assistance program or something like that.
EEP. Yeah. So yes, jealousy and envy can be very vicious and ugly feelings, and it could suck for you feeling it and for the person who it's directed towards.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean it has to be the end of your friendship, and it probably can bring you a lot closer depending on how you go about it.
If you're honest about it.
If you're honest about it. The right person will probably look at you and be like, damn girl, thank you for being honest with me. I feel jealous sometimes too. Let's talk about it. Everybody feels jealous at one point or another.
And if somebody tells you they've never felt jealous, they are lying.
Even, I'm 100% sure, even people who were born into money and never had a problem, quote unquote, a problem in their life, still feel jealous of somebody. They may feel jealous of the person who broke. Like, I don't want to be rich all the time, all this attention and fame and stuff like that. I want to be a regular person who's not, bombarded by paparazzi all the time. I'm sure there's a lot of famous people who think that. Like, I wish I could be a regular Joe Smo and no one pays attention to me. So, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Remember, what was that, Asshole by Ginger? That old show on.
It was Asshole by Ginger. Yeah.
Think of that whenever you get jealous. Think of that song, okay? Ginger wanted everybody's life, and everyone's life was trash.
And they were treating her so bad, but that's another story.
Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where I land on the whole jealous conversation. I'm gonna ask you this week. Do you have any final thoughts?
Oh, I hate the face you're making. I wish we had a camera.
TikTok. We'll be on TikTok one day, maybe.
I would say that I think it is crucial to think about when you are dealing, even if you're dealing with a situation where your friend has or has not expressed jealous tendencies, to evaluate where they are and if there's action behind it. Because again, there is a huge difference between jealousy and envy. And someone can express that they feel jealous of what's happening because they wish for it themselves. And someone can express verbally or physically their disdain for you having that, and then they want to sabotage or try to make sure that they garner that same thing in the future maliciously, which is envy. And so if anybody ever tells you that they have never been jealous, as we just said before, they are really lying. They are really lying. Like, there is no way that any human being has been on this earth longer than a child. Because
even children have jealousy.
Even children.
Pets have jealousy. Loki gets jealous if I touch anything that's not him.
Loki is about to break this door down literally right now.
Because I'm not spending time with him.
Exactly.
He's jealous of me spending time with you. Like, most creatures on this planet that can form pretty cohesive thoughts probably experience jealousy. Animals, humans. I don't know if insects do, probably. I don't know, but still. It's normal. Let's normalize those feelings, people. Let's be proactive. Let's use those feelings to grow and not just fuck over everyone around us, because don't do that, person. Don't bring people down just because you ain't up there.
Envious people end up alone. I'm going to just tell you that. If you can look in history and see that people who envy something from someone else and wanted to take it from them, they ended up alone. So if you are experiencing feelings of jealousy for your friends or your loved ones, and you're like, I shouldn't be jealous of this person, like, I love them, that does not mean you do not love them. It doesn't mean you care about them any less. It is a moment where you can take a self-reflection and say, why do I feel this way? Why am I experiencing emotions that hinder me from being able to celebrate whatever is happening? Because in the end, that's what jealousy does. It hinders you from being able to celebrate whatever's happening with the people you care about. And so just taking a moment to reflect on that. And again, we are advocates for therapy. We are here to talk about our experiences and talk about things that we've researched and everything. But there are licensed professionals out there that are literally trained to help you to deal with these things day to day. And I cannot stress enough that everybody has something to talk to somebody about. Period. I don't care what kind of upbringing you thought you had. Like, we all have something we could talk to somebody about.
Everybody. We all think. If you're a human on Earth, you need fucking therapy. I'm sorry. This place is ghetto.
I mean, even if you had the most perfect upbringing, think about 2020.
Like I said, if you are a human being on this here rock, you need to talk to somebody. The therapists need to see therapists, and they therapists need to see therapists.
And everybody has a therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen therapists who have therapists. So, yeah, my final take is be honest with yourself and be honest with your friends. Like, especially if they can sense or have a inclination that something is off. Like, literally just feel open enough to be honest with them, because that is a vulnerable moment. And if you feel like you can be that vulnerable with someone, it is a sign of like your maturity in being able to say, hey, I felt XYZ and this is why I couldn't do XYZ. And it's not to say that if you can't do that it's a bad thing or you're a bad person, but you need to acknowledge it. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't say...
At least be honest with yourself.
Yeah, be honest.
If you're gonna be honest with anybody, at least be honest with yourself.
Be honest with yourself, for sure.
And just before we bounce off here, I just want to give one more proactive tip. Depending on what you're jealous of, you can probably just ask that person how they got it. Like, if it's a job that you want, like, hey girl, how did you get there? Can you put me on? There could be an opportunity for you to be put on.
Tips and tricks.
So, use those feelings to be proactive. Use those feelings to, better yourself. Just because it's a negative, quote unquote, negative feeling, doesn't mean it has to control you. It doesn't have to ruin your relationships. It could potentially help you grow. So, y'all be good out there.
Ask and you shall receive. So don't let social media be out here fooling y'all.
Truly.
Ask these people.
Because my social media, you would think I am a world jet setting DJ. In actuality, I am on my couch crying. Fetal position daily.
You're in the fetal position because you like being there with
I do like sleeping in the fetal position. But don't let my Instagram fool you. Don't let it fool you. I be in therapy. I be paying $50 a week to go to therapy. I be crying on that couch, and I be crying when I come home. I had to eat buttered noodles last week because I had no money to eat. So don't let Instagram fool you, okay?
As it will. So, I will post to Twitter, not Instagram, the question of jealousy and if it's ever shown up on you with a friend or in a friend towards you on Twitter. I've been slacking on the Twitter. Listen, it's managing social medias and managing real world activities and making sure my plants don't die and making sure that I don't die is a lot. So I'm doing the best I can out here. If I said I was going to do something on Twitter and I didn't, hold me accountable, but I apologize in advance if it didn't happen. So you can find us on Twitter at Funny Podcast. That is FUNI Podcast. We are also on Instagram, Friendship University at Instagram. We are also on Gmail, friendshipuniversity@gmail.com. You can reach out to us. All of our handles will be in the description box below. We would love to hear from you. We thank you again for tuning in to another week. And we hope to see you for another Friendship Friday. Peace out.
Bye-bye.